With the year coming to a close, I think it's a good time to look at who has been the top 10 players in the Premier League this year. This obviously includes from the whole 2023, so it'll be half of last season and half of this season, so you've got to factor these things in. With the competition being insanely hard, and this took me a long time to produce this list, don't hate me if some of your favourite players aren't in it. I have also tried to eliminate any bias I may have. With that being said, let's get into number 10. So these later spots are the ones that are really the hardest to pick, and for me, I picked number 10, Jarrod Bowen from West Ham. Now, I think he squeezes in here for me, mostly on recency bias, but I do think overall he's had a brilliant year. Overall, he's got 15 goals and 9 assists over the calendar year in the Premier League, and he also scored a number of goals in the Conference League, obviously scoring that amazing winner for West Ham. He's obviously really improved recently, and I think he's the top player, but I only really put him on here as well because I wanted some other teams to be in there other than the big ones. So I'm really happy for Jarrod Bowen. He had a great year and should definitely be in the England squad for the Euros. Now, number 9 is, don't hate me Arsenal fans, but I have put Declan Rice there. Now, obviously Declan Rice played half the year at West Ham and was pretty decent for them, but you know, nothing spectacular, and they kind of had focus on the Conference League. But I thought he was excellent in that campaign as well as Jarrod Bowen, and he's been insane for Arsenal since he joined. He's really turned the team around, and despite every performance not being the best, he is definitely the star player of that team right now. To be the star player on one of the top teams in the country straight away is not really heard of, so I really rate him for that. And I also think defensive midfielders don't really get a chance to show themselves or be in these lists because it's very attack heavy, so I wanted to give some love to the defensive midfielder, and also maybe a little bit of bias, but I think Declan Rice deserves a spot in this list. Now, next we're going to current Premier League title challengers, Aston Villa, with obviously Ollie Watkins. Now, I do think Douglas Luiz is a big part of this side, but Ollie Watkins, obviously his stats are insane. You can't argue with him being in this list. This season, he's got 21 goals and 11 assists just in the Premier League alone, and it shows his progression he's had throughout the years, getting better and better every single time and deserving his England spot. Also, with his pressing and how he works with the rest of the team and how he's really got to this tactical system, I don't think you could find many better strikers than Ollie Watkins in the world right now. He's been really good, and he's one of the reasons why Aston Villa are in that title race. Number 7 for me is Liverpool's goalkeeper, Alisson. Now, I've not seen a lot of mention of Alisson, people putting him in the top 10, which I think is amazing. It just shows how much keepers don't get recognised in the league. I think Alisson this year has established himself as the best goalkeeper in the world ahead of anyone else, and he's also established the fact that he is a world-class shot stopper as well as a brilliant passer. This season, he's already saved 6 more goals than he was expected to, and last season he did loads even though Liverpool came 5th. I think a lot of credit is given to a lot of other players in Liverpool's side, such as Trent and Salah, but I think Alisson really is the key to this team. He is world class and he's one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen play. And for large parts of this season and last season, he has really saved Liverpool at times, so I expect him to be one of the great goalkeepers we've seen in the Premier League. Now, number 6, I've put all my bias aside and I have included a Tottenham player. It's obviously Son Heung-min. Now, this is a little bit controversial because Son last season wasn't amazing. I don't think he would have got on this list, but I do think this season his performances have been just good enough maybe to be in this list. Maybe is a bit too high. Let me know what you think. But I do really like Son. I think he's one of the reasons why Anger's being able to come into Tottenham and change the philosophy. He wants to learn. He's willing to be the captain. He's a brilliant leader for the side. And this year he has 18 goals and 9 assists, which is still an amazing tally. Obviously mostly coming from this year, but I think he's been electric. And he's a true world-class player playing at a club that isn't going to win anything, so I feel really bad. Now, just before we get into number 5, I want you guys to know, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and watch all my other content. I do mostly Arsenal content, but I'm looking in the new year to move into other content of football related and look at other teams as well. So let me know what you want to see in the comments and let me know if you agree or disagree with my opinions. Number 5, I'm going for some love for my defenders. It's William Saliba. Of course, I am an Arsenal fan, but for real, this guy is insane. I personally have said multiple times that I think if you're talking about an actual ability wise, he's probably Arsenal's best player, and I do think he is insane. He's come into the team and he's one of the best players I've ever seen play for the club, and he's just made the defense so assured. The reason why Arsenal have one of the best defense records in the league is because of him. Both seasons now he has been so good, and instantly when he came in, Arsenal became a 5th, 6th team in the league to a title contending team. He's what everyone likes to call is a Rolls Royce defender. He makes everything look so easy and he's an insane player to watch. He just glides around the pitch, winning balls, winning tackles all the time. To me, in this year, he's been one of the best defenders in the world, and I don't think anyone can really argue with that, and I think he's probably been the best defender in the Premier League as well. Okay, don't hate me, but number 4 is another Arsenal player. It's Bukayo Saka. Now, before putting Arsenal players in would have looked a bit psychopathic, but now obviously they were 2nd of the season last year, and I think they've been one of the best teams in the Premier League this year, so I think you can argue with having a lot of players in there. Now, I know statistically there's players that have probably been a bit better on goals and assists wise than Bukayo Saka, such as Ollie Watkins, but if you actually watch the game games, you realise he is deserving of being in this list this high. Not only has he established himself as one of the best right wingers in the world, he's also carried Arsenal through tough times and helped them get through so many moments. And I know they didn't win the league in the end, but he was definitely a big part of them getting close. I will also argue it's certainly hard for him to make some contributions because he is getting triple teams or double teams per game. He's also managed to get 13 goals and 11 assists this year, and that's a brilliant return, getting double digits on both sides, and I expect him to get better and better as the weeks go on. He truly is the star boy, and he truly is one to watch for the future, and I don't care if people want to compare him to other players because he's that good, it doesn't really matter. Now we get to our top three. Number 3, getting the bronze medal for me this year is Mohamed Salah. Now there's definitely arguments that Salah does drift out of games, but his output is so insane that I just don't think you could ever argue with him being near the top, and it's such a testament to his age that he can still do it at this level. At the start of the year, Liverpool really needed to get results because they didn't look like they couldn't even get Europe. In the end, they nearly fought and nearly got 4th, but they came 5th, but Salah was excellent, getting 12 goals and 10 assists in just 4 or 5 months in the Premier League. He's continued that this season with another 12 goals and 7 assists, showing how great his output really is and being a brilliant outlet for the Premier League. He's Liverpool's main man and could give him a Premier League title this year as he leaves. It looks like he's going to leave to Saudi in the summer, but brilliant servant of the Premier League. Now I want to go through some honourable mentions before we go through the last 2. So people like James Maddison, Martin Odegaard, I know that's going to be a controversial one, Mitoma, John Stones, De Bruyne, these are players that were very close to getting on the list, but I want to have a bit of variety in there, and I didn't want to just have Man City and Arsenal players. I've also picked players that played a lot more and were pretty much not injured too badly throughout the year. Some players that had a few injuries for a few months probably didn't make the cut. With that being said, my number 2 player of the 2023 year was Rodri from Manchester City. I don't think I've ever seen a defensive midfielder have the impact that he has had on a team. Even Sergio Busquets, a world-class player, was always helping Barcelona, never had this sort of impact. Rodri is inevitable. He's one of the best defenders in the world, makes it look so easy winning the ball back all the time. Not only is he a brilliant protection, he has shown he comes up with clutch goals, he can provide big moments, and he's a brilliant long passer as well. He can basically do everything in the game, and when Man City don't have him in the team, they are considerably weaker. The reason why I put him over Salah to me is because in his position, I don't think you could have possibly a better season. I think without him, Man City wouldn't have won everything they have. And that leads me to number 1. Obviously, we all know who it's going to be, Haaland from Manchester City. Now, people get really upset when you talk about how good Haaland is because people just think he's a tap-in merchant. He does score a lot of tap-ins and he gets a lot of chances, but he still takes them. A lot of Premier League players don't, and people complain at them. It's not as easy as you think. He also came in and broke Premier League records straight away that no one probably ever will do and has done before. And this year alone, he scored 30 Premier League goals, which is just an insane amount. He is a threat every single game, there's no doubt about that. And sometimes, yeah, you have to focus on him and stop him in the game. He's not going to turn up every week, but he's almost inevitable in a sense. I still think anyone in the league would love to have him in their team, and I think he is a truly world-class player that has a chance of actually winning the Ballon d'Or in the Premier League for the first time in a very long time. So that is my top 10 players of 2023. Let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know who your top 10 players are. And if you want to stick around, please watch any of my other videos. I will link one up right in the video now. Thanks for a good 2023. Let's hope 2024 is even better. Thank you for watching.